It's the Flo Factory. I'm Silk.
I'm Amon Richards.
Kenny Shaw.
I think the intro spoke for itself. We got a Florida legend kicking it with us today. I'm super excited to kick it with Orlando native, Florida boy, Chris Johnson. How's it doing? How's it going, my guy?
I'm good, man. Just chilling.
I'm super excited to be hanging out with you, man. Before we get too far, what's up, Kenny?
Man, what's up? Hey, for those folks who don't know what chilling means, it's so much that goes into that. Hey, that's a Florida thing, I think. chilling, man.
The lingo is universal, man. No matter which pocket, every pocket of Florida is totally different. If you're in Orlando, South Florida, on the West Coast, Fort Myers, and the Panhandle, every crack and crevice is different. But a lot of things are universal, and that's the lingo for sure. So how's it feel to be immortal, man? You've accomplished some things that make you immortal in the game of football and an absolute legend. What's that feeling like?
It feels good, man. It's crazy that you asked that because, like, a lot of times, people ask me that question, like, how does it feel to do what you've done and all those type of things? And, like, I feel like when we actually in it, we don't understand, like, what we're actually doing, how big it actually is until you retire from the game and you just get to sit back and watch and, like, dwell on the things and see how kids react and stuff like that and be like, wow, I really did all those different things. Like, it's crazy.
It's Flo Factory. It's a double entendre of some sort, of course, FLO for Florida, but also Flo is like that state of mind and focus level that a lot of greats achieve. So we're going to tap into a little bit of your mindset and, where you was at in some of those moments as well. But let's take it all the way back to Orlando. Let's talk a little bit, Kenny from Orlando. Let's talk some football culture and, what it's like.
Yeah, man. Well, I know when I was coming up, I'm not sure about Kenny, but I know when I was coming up, that's when, like, we had City League.
Oh, we had City League.
Right, but you played City League? Part Warner. See, at City League, we played all of it's different. And, like, even with my kids now.
The fairgrounds.
Yeah, the fairgrounds. We played at the fairgrounds. We played at the fairgrounds every single weekend. That's away, home game, away game, every single weekend is right there at the fairgrounds.
Right.
See, but I wish I would have played Pop Warner because you get a chance to travel around a little bit and, like, play against the kids maybe on the east side or in Lake Mary or, like, Kissimmee, all those different. Like, when you play City League, you just play around all the kids around here, like Copper Shores, Mr. Drive, Richmond High. You played like those kids, but, like, it was still a lot of real good competition, though.
So what was it like as far as the culture of, like, competition? How competitive? I know in South Florida, you got the hustlers at the game giving, $100 handshakes for touchdowns and all of that type of stuff. So the culture as far as, like, Pop Warner competitiveness and also the neighborhood, like, how competitive was it?
It was still competitive because it's just basically like my hood versus your hood. Like, each hood had their own football team. You know what I'm saying? So it was still competitive. It was the same way.
Man, one Thanksgiving we called it the Turkey Bowl. Yeah. And we played against goddamn Malibu. Mama was mad as hell. We was out there hitting with no pass on like that. But it was just, like he's saying, it's a, and a lot of my coaching methods when I give back to these kids is you can't just get it when you in the establishment of the football field and all that. We was outside.
Was outside.
Night and day, just any man. Just hitting and just trying to, we loved the game. So I think that also too, as Chris would probably say, if it wasn't for all that, I don't know how I would have got out of. Like you say, when you sit back and you realize, like, overcame a lot of obstacles. It's like, damn, bro, just getting out of a situation like that is like.
But yeah, like he was saying, so now all the kids now they're training. Right. Like when we came up, we didn't train. We just went outside and played football all day, every day. Saying like, so now. Yeah, so now you got these kids training and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, like, what he does, he let everybody come train for free or whatever. But where it's happening that you getting a lot of these kids where, like, their mom and dad can afford to pay for training and stuff. Right. So one thing that he said the other day was like, yeah, you out here playing around, but what happened when you run into little Tay-Tay that can't even eat at night?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who people that don't got it.
Right.
That's all they got is football.
Right.
But over here, y'all all right. Y'all eating every night, full course meals, this and that. But when you run into Lil Tay-Tay, like, we was Lil Tay-Tay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was our culture. We was a dog back then. Like, that's all we had to make it out. And I tell people this a lot of times, like, when we was coming up, we felt like making it pro was like a dream. But it really ain't a dream. Like, if you stay focused and do what you gotta do, you can make it.
Let me ask you this. Your mindset because, like, you're in it, and I know, like, there is a mindset of the Lil Tay-Tays is, I gotta make it, or this is an opportunity for me to make it out. Did you see that at an early age? Like, I think I could go, or I want to go pro, or this is something I want to do. This is my way out of the situation.
Yeah, it was something that I wanted to do. I wanted some money or whatever like that. I didn't want to continue to live how we was living and things like that or whatever like that. So yeah, I can say that was the same situation. I felt like that, like, football was gonna be my way out.
I would say the same thing. Like, and people get trenches and the hood mixed up a little bit and think so much negative, but it's just a bunch of people surviving. A lot of them folks got to make decisions, and they ain't even got bad hearts, but they living within their means. So at some point as a kid, and that's why I ask them too every Saturday, like, why you playing this game? And that can be anybody. Why you being a father? Why you being this? And as a kid, it's just like it's a certain confidence you get upon yourself. Mine was more so I wasn't the biggest guy, but I'm out here hanging with these older boys. Like, they can't. I got a certain vengeance about myself. I don't want to just get pushed around. That ain't in my DNA. So it's like everybody got a certain identity. It's like a superhero. You know early, but it's like we speaking of. It's hard to just get out of certain situation. It might be who you with. It might be one decision. Like, it's 1,000 LeBrons in the hood. It's 1,000 goddamn Vicks. I don't seen some
facts.
5-star athletes. Look,
Yeah.
and it's I think when we get older, it's just about telling these jits, like, man, where we fucked up at. You know what I mean? Like, you gonna see the accolades. It's 2024, everything online, but tell them, son, that that ain't online sometimes,
No, and I was gonna say, just touch on, I feel like that's big in, like, the community, and I, salute, guys for giving back, because I'm not from a rough environment, but I played with guys from those environments. It's like crazy to see the amount of guys, like, to your point, where they have all the talent in the world. Guys more talented than me, faster, bigger, and, like, I see him, like, one of the guys, I'm not gonna say his name, but he was, like, sleeping on top of Burger King. But then go in the game and score 3-4 touchdowns like it was nothing. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like guys like that, I'm like, if he had someone older or mentor to look up to that can help guide him.
They peak too early. So all of it's important to keep. Man, how you got that fast, bro?
But man, just always, I'm the youngest out of 4 boys. You know what I'm saying? So just always having to race against
that boy
brothers and stuff like that, and then, like, running track and stuff like that. Track was a big part of it. I can't even lie, track was a real big part of it.
How early did you start track?
I didn't start. My first year running track was 8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 8th grade.
You was fast before then? Like, you was already...
Yeah, I was fast.
Yeah?
Like, just running in the neighborhood and stuff like that. That was our, like...
I believe racing barefoot is the key to
right.
a lot of...
Hold the ball, yeah, barefoot.
They be talking about the Africans
like,
overseas and shit, but that's how they train. They run miles on miles barefoot. And it's a serious race when them shoes come off. So I know you probably won a lot of money, shit talking back in the day.
Shit talking, a lot of shit talking,
So you was in the recruiting world. You was a 2-star recruit. You're going through the process at Olympia High School, doing your thing. Do you feel like you was overlooked by the Florida programs in your recruiting process?
We were just talking about that, actually. Yeah, I for sure think I was overlooked or whatever, but just to say that, like, I ain't go to no camps or none of that stuff like that. So that's the thing, like, what I make sure that I do with my kids now. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, us coming up, like, our parents and nothing against them, but they didn't know what we know. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know like, oh, this Nike camp here, or this camp here. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know that stuff. That's why I feel like us coming up, we felt like making it pro is a dream. Right. Like something like a dream come true or something like that. But like these other parents and stuff like that, like they knew about these things. Our parents didn't.
Right.
Our parents just knew going to work, making it check for check, putting food on the table for us and stuff like that. Like that's what they was on. They wasn't finna give us like how much the camps be? 150. So
yeah.
When y'all went like they ain't finna spend 150 for no Nike camp. And then we gotta go there and then like know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but we know that stuff now. Know what I'm saying? So I feel like that was a big part of my recruiting too. Like I ain't go to none of that stuff. I just did the sports in high school, played football, ran track, but I still feel like I'm overlooked because like my year coming out, like I probably was like the second fastest in Florida.
I think you finished behind Walter Diggs, right?
Yeah, Walter Diggs.
Yeah.
Oh, Walter Diggs.
And Xavier Carter too. We was all in the same class. You know what I'm saying? I raced Walter Diggs. I never raced Xavier, but all those guys went to the Olympics. So I just don't see the player of my caliber and I'm that fast. I ran a 10.3 in high school. I just don't see how all the Florida schools passed me up.
Even UCF and the local ones, USF didn't hit you up either? Yeah, that's a big fumble. That's big. Who do you grow up like from Orlando? Is there any running backs, athletes from Orlando that you grew up like, you see people come back to the city and that's a little bit of inspiration. Was there anybody that came back that inspired you?
Really the only guy my oldest brother, he played running back, so I always wanted to be just like him and stuff like that. Like he played at West Orange, he was pretty good. I just always watched him.
I think among me and him was talking a little bit on the side a few times about his recruiting process. In the same way, I know he ended up at Miami, but he didn't attend the camps and do all that stuff
either. He hates Florida State. I found out about him. He hates Florida State.
Hey, it's an internal thing.
Man, you gotta tell him why though. I would hate Florida State too if they.
Man, all right. So look, I'm from Palm Beach, right? So Palm Beach or Tallahassee, driving ain't the easiest thing to do. And at this time, there was no NIL. There was no get paid to come up here type of thing. So me and my parents, we drove all the way up. And I remember the whole way drive, we excited, get to the game. We talked to the recruiting personnel. They gave me the name tag. And that was the only thing they said. Enjoy the game. I just stood on the sideline, watched. No coach said anything. Pretty much just didn't get recruited at that point up there. Right. So then we had to drive back that night. The game was an 8 o'clock game. So the game ended like 12 o'clock. Yeah. We had to drive. I remember getting back like 7 o'clock the next day in the morning. We mad. We didn't even talk to no coaches, nothing. Just pretty much wasted time. So I always had that internal beef that, okay, cool. When we play, we gonna hash it out. So it really stemmed from that moment.
So they invited you up there?
They invited me up there. They invited me up there. Hey, look, I'll never forget it. It was a night game versus Notre Dame at home. They won on the last drive. The quarterback, number 5, he threw it like out of bounds in the game. They won. Sneak victory. They really won. They called a touchdown back for pick play. Yeah, exactly. So I vividly remember this. So yeah, that's kind of how it went. So my internal hate, went there. But I got to ask you, if you had to select, if you was getting recruited by any of the big 3, which one you select?
Big 3?
Yeah, Florida State, or Miami. Which one?
You're going to choose UCF in the big 3. All right, that's my last throw. Look,
at that time, it definitely was a big 3 when he was coming out. Like now it's a little bit different. UCF probably could be plugged in if there was a big 4. Yeah. But back then when you were coming out, it was definitely a separation.
State, Miami, and the Gators.
Right.
See, for me, and the reason why this is my answer, because they had like a list of running backs coming out year after year after year. So I would have did Miami because you had McGahee, you had Frank Gore playing Fortis.
Boys.
Yeah, y'all did, but I'm just saying that list that list, they was dropping back to back.
Listen, come on. I tell Florida State fans.
Willis McGahee.
Till this day, I tell Florida State fans, like you say, when you come from where you come from, like that's a big picture. This college too is like, it seemed so far-fetched, like, I don't know if I can make it. Then you slowly started to progress towards that mindset, and like, man, Miami on that video game back in the day, I grew up a Hurricane.
Right.
But shit happens in recruiting when you get to that time, like, man, fuck them.
Yeah.
Hey, these boy, hey, I ain't going down here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they had some boys, man. McGahee was just that whole team.
That whole team. You got Sean Taylor. You got all those guys.
Hester.
He gonna fit right in with the goals too. Like,
man,
he blended right in with the crowd with the goals.
Yeah.
Talk about speed too. We talk about fast, like electric.
Look like a Miami running back a little bit.
Yeah, but I ain't gonna lie. I love Florida State though. I can't lie. Ward Dunn, Peter Ward, all those guys. I love Florida State, but it's just you got to choose on what best fits you. Like, and I felt like they had the running backs.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
What's your Florida top 5 running backs look like?
Florida, from Florida. I think
You talking about college or pro?
Pro, college guy. I mean,
overall,
top 5.
Overall, that's tough.
You got Emmitt Smith and Fred. you include yourself.
I include myself.
Yeah, include yourself, baby.
Okay.
You went crazy in college too. We're gonna talk about some college stuff in a little bit.
Right.
So,
in no particular order, I say Emmett, I say Fred, I say EJ, myself, and Frank Gore. Frank.
That's a tough list. You ain't gonna tackle that list.
Yeah, that's a tough list.
I was telling his ass the other day, because he asked you want to play receiver always. I said, fuck yeah, running back, you come across in the hole, and you don't know what the hell is coming on any adjacent side. So you just, I give it up to each position, but running back, I said.
Hey, I played running back in Little League.
That when it stopped.
I stopped because, Little League, no one really blocking like that. You know what I'm saying? You gonna hit the 6 hole or the 5, something like that. But try to get outside, but I got tired of that. Went out wild when it just mossing dudes, and it was over since then. But yeah, that Little League running stuff was not it.
So you end up choosing ECU in the decision process. What were your schools? What offers did you have at the time?
Well, I had East Carolina, I had Connecticut, and I had Eastern Kentucky. That was my 3 schools.
Okay.
Eastern Kentucky won because they were D1 AA, so that was easy. And then so it came down to East Carolina and Connecticut. When I talked to East Carolina, they said they was bringing me in to play running back. When I talked to Connecticut, they said they was gonna bring me in to play cornerback, but they'll give me the opportunity to play running back. So we all know what that means. I was gonna be in that corner room. So the decision was easy for me because I didn't have much interest. I didn't have many schools. So it came down to 2 schools, and then like one school was gonna let me play running back. So that's why I went. Because back then when I was coming out, like receiver wasn't a popular thing to do.
Yeah, it was a running league.
Like even like you say, Little League, like we running the ball, sweet left, sweet right. The receiver, like you might throw it here and there, but receiver wasn't getting no work like that.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Like we was running the ball. The most popular person on the team was the running back.
Yeah.
But now that changed these days. So like, and it was crazy because like even like in high school, I can say like probably like around my 11th grade year, 10th, 11th grade year, my coach always wanted me to play receiver. He wanted to play receiver. I never would do it. I wouldn't ever switch my position or whatever like that. But that just showed he knew what the game was evolving into, what it was finna turn into.
Right. So what's your mindset? These are your offers, right? The Eastern Kentucky, Connecticut, who was terrible football program at that time. In ECU, in your mind, you thinking still the same type of thoughts from when you was a Jet, like I could still, NFL this thing?
Yeah. My mindset, I can still do it. I know I'm a running back. I feel like that's my best opportunity to get to where I'm trying to get to, and they giving me that opportunity. So that was just my mindset. Like I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna get stronger, get bigger, faster, and just.
And I think we spoke on it last Saturday or when it was, but you ain't take a visit or nothing.
To East Carolina, I didn't take a visit to Connecticut.
So that was like a no-brainer.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer. Like the decision was a no-brainer to me. Like, y'all telling me y'all gonna give me the opportunity to play running back, but we're bringing you in as a corner. Like up until this point, like when you say organized football, like in Little League or high school, I never played a down of cornerback. So I'm like, I'm not going there to play cornerback. Like just me not knowing, but like I never played cornerback or nothing like that. And obviously I'm going to college, and I'm pretty sure these kids are better and things like that. So I'm not just finna jump out there and play a position that I never played a day in my life. Right. So yeah, it's easy. Like so I went on my visit to East Carolina. The next weekend I was supposed to go to Connecticut. So we talked, and they were still saying we will bring you in as a corner and this and that, and I just ain't go to the visit. I just committed to East Carolina.
The draft process, entering the draft, what was that process like at that time? Was it the first time? I would assume the first time you felt wanted / recruited on a high level, considering you was a top prospect coming out.
Yeah, it was crazy because what happened? So I was being my name was out there. Like after my senior year, I was going crazy, and then I ended up. We had a bowl game. National bowl game on TV. We playing Boise State, and Boise State had just beat Oklahoma the year before. So I think I finished that game with 400 yards. I had 400 yards.
Man, why you gonna say that all body?
Yeah, I had 408.
I'm looking for twos. I'm like,
yeah, I had 408. I had 408 that game or whatever. So then after then, it started heating up, and then I went to the combine. I ran the fastest 40-yard time. And then after that, it just went crazy. Like I had so many visits. I think I had like 16 different visits. So I went from city to city, like the draft process, you got to go visit the teams and stuff like that. So just going through all that stuff or whatever like that, and then I ended up getting drafted by Tennessee, but it was a crazy thing because so the guy from Tennessee that came and worked me out was the running back coach for Tennessee. And so when he get there, he recommended, he was like, I played running back at East Carolina. I'm like, huh? So he played running back at East Carolina. He's a Tennessee running back coach, and they drafted me. So the day before the draft, he like, yeah, man. So when you're dealing with the agents, they don't never really want to overhype you or tell you. So that they want to humble you. So if they think you're gonna be like a first round pick, they be like, yeah, you might go in the second or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you don't be mad at them. So yeah, so my agent was always telling me like second, maybe third or whatever like that. So after the workout or whatever, he was like, yeah, I'm going to stay in contact with you. So the day before the draft, he called me, and he was like, yeah, man, we really like you. If you there at 24, we going to take you. But I always, like growing up, I was a Dallas Cowboy fan, so I always wanted to go to Dallas. Dallas needed a running back. They had 2 picks in the first round. I think they picked 18 and 21. So everybody knew they needed a cornerback and they needed a running back. So at 18, they picked Mike Jenkins from South Florida. So at 21, I just knew they was going to pick me. They ended up picking Felix Jones or whatever like that. But my coach had already told me if I'm there at 24 that they was going to take me. I didn't think I was going to be there, but they ended up taking me at 24. So I kind of knew a little bit.
Right. Along the process between, you going crazy in the bowl game versus Boise, running the 40, the draft, like when you start picking up new cousins?
Oh, man.
Bro, the man from a big city, like people think Orlando is Kissimmee. Orlando is massive.
Yeah, it's big.
East side.
It's big.
Whatever. So I know, I know you had a cuz.
Man, yeah. Probably, because I can't say, people knew I was doing my thing and I was training for a draft, but it don't really hit reality to people until you actually get drafted. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then once you get drafted, that's when it started coming out of the woodwork, after you get drafted.
Did you have the Drew Rosenhauses of the world, recruiting you in that world as well?
Yeah.
Who'd you end up choosing as an agent?
Joe, the crazy thing about it, it was either going to be Drew Rosenhaus or Joel Siegel, which is my agent, Joel Siegel. So what ended up making me pick Joe Siegel over Drew was because Drew Rosenhaus and Tom Shaw, they had got into it about something the year before I was coming out. So none of Drew Rosenhaus guys was allowed to train at Disney or whatever. So I ended up going with Joe. You know, 'cause I would have had to go down. I would have had to go to Miami. You know what I'm saying? To train. But me coming from high school, then East Carolina, then going to Miami, like I wanted to come back home. Like I ain't never been to Miami before, none of that stuff. So I ain't want to go away from home and stuff like that. So I'm like, man, yeah, I got to be in Orlando when I'm training.
And I can't skip over Tom Shaw. Like Chris was kind of mentioning, we didn't have like the resources we might have like when I do my foundation and shit like that. So I can honestly sit up here and say in my life of mentorship, Tom was one of them guys because, you know, like he's saying, Mama Shaw ain't paying for no camps. And
right.
I just got to jigulate some shit, you know. But Tom, being in that Dr. Phillips area with a guy named Ed Patty, who also friends with Joe Siegel, came to a high school game and was like, Miss Shaw, like, this dude can train me for the rest of his life for free. Like, you got a good young man, like, he just want to play ball, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've been out there, Ike Taylor, all them boys since high school, you know, just getting work, seeing how they operate, seeing, you know, seeing them enjoy themselves because they would go out too, you know what I mean? Like, it was a family-based type ordeal, and I was making a joke to him when it came down to draft process. In our year, it was like, as we training for this 40, you can put times on like his time. Like you put that 40 strip to Chris Johnson 40 time. And I was joking. I said, bro, I came out of the start and his shit was already 5 yards. No, seriously, 5. It's a light strip that goes off.
Like a laser or something.
And us men, we damn near gonna pull a hamstring trying to catch this shit. It's like, it's humbling. So again, when it came down to Chris, I'm going to be honest, when it came down to like someone I said, hey, I want to have him on the podcast. I was like, man, you know, I've seen him in the area, you know what I mean? Like, I respect this game and just to know where you came from. So I appreciate you coming on.
Man, I want me some fantasy leagues for sure.
Oh my God.
You want me some fantasy leagues for sure, man. On some sleeper picks. I picked you early that year, but speaking about the 40-yard dash, that's a controversy as well. It's like a lot of conspiracies behind that. Like they're saying that it was broken, but when you do it side by side, you win that race.
100%.
100%. I just think people got bored with the combine. Like, because I had done held the record for like 10, 11 years straight. Like, nobody broke the record. And then it's just like, I guess they wanted something. I don't know.
Get somebody else.
Ratings or something like that. Yeah.
We still riding with Chris Johnson, still the fastest at 40 at the combine. We ain't getting off of that, man. Got to keep it with a Florida guy.
Right.
That first direct deposit hit the account. what, like, give me your mindset. Give me like where you at, how you feeling when you open up the bank app and see all them zeros.
Ah, man. I think by the time the first one hit or whatever, I think we was in season or something like that, or training camp or something like that. See, before then, like, I had done already, before the signing bonus and stuff, so like training and stuff for the draft and going up, getting to the draft and stuff, I got a car, and a couple things, because you know, like when you sign with your agent and stuff like that, you get a little advance and stuff like that. So I had done got advance and stuff like that. So I had done got me a car like that. That was my first time ever having a car. I had done got a BMW or whatever like that. I got that, and then I had some little jewelry and stuff. See, but the crazy thing about it, like Brandon Marshall, Mike Sims Walker, those guys was older than me. So I used to be around them a lot. So I had done experienced a little bit of things with them, like as far as hanging out and doing different things and stuff. So like by the time I had made it, I just became another one of the guys or whatever like that. So like we used to all just hang out and go different places and stuff like that. So about time, I think my first purchase, like my very first purchase was I bought a house in Tennessee. That's my first purchase. I bought a house. So that's the first thing I did when my money hit.
Was the entourage big? I know the hang-arounds be a big thing.
Yeah, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. Like as far as like when I was here in the off season, but as far as up in Tennessee, my brothers, they moved out there with me. My brothers moved to Tennessee with me, and shoot, when I left Tennessee, they stayed. They still there to this day.
Yeah, they away.
They done created families, jobs, all type of stuff. So they still out there, whatever. So, yeah.
So how that make you feel, knowing that you kind of like helped create like a better path for like your siblings or relatives or stuff like that? Just being the one to make it out and be successful, even at the NFL level.
Yeah, man, it feels good because like even from when you're younger and saying this what you want to do, you want to take care of your people, your mom, your dad, your family, and to actually be able to do it is just a different feeling. It feels good to be able to do that, and for them not to be able to struggle and live how they was living then, like it feels good.
Get into the NFL, just like college, you start getting busy right away, bruh. One of the 8 running backs to go over 2,000 yards is historical stuff. 2,500, I think you're the only one to do that. Just immortal stuff this man accomplishing, man, early on, but you still on that rookie contract.
Right.
So, like, business come into play a little bit there. I know it's tough. Us as fans, like when we see holdouts, it's like, man, you just want the team to be good. And when they hold them out, you don't get none of the business side of it. So how did you deal with that? Like overperforming your contract, being one of the lowest paid running backs for definitely what you're accomplishing, and then trying to get your just pay, but also wanting to love this game and play the game. Like how do you deal with that side of it?
My agent, man, like Joe Siegel, like he a real good agent. But like I just tried to focus on football, and even Tennessee, they looked out for me. Like, so after my second year, nobody gets. So back then, it was first round picks. We was getting locked in 5-6 year deals. Now it's like 3-4 year deals for those guys. So they getting back to the table quick. So that's the main goal: get back to the table. So after my second year, that's when I went for 2,000 yards or whatever. Like. So we trying to get paid. We trying to get some money. So like, they didn't want to give me no new contract after my second year or whatever. So they ended up giving me $5 million, and they gave me $5 million after my second year, and then came back and played on the same contract, and then I ended up getting paid after my third year. So they did I wanted a long-term deal after that second one, like to rip it up and give me a new contract, but they just gave me some hush money. So, yeah, they gave me some hush money.
What are you doing, like from a fan perspective? We want to know what y'all boys doing on the holdout. Like you training, you got a personal trainer, like you just vibing?
Shaw, man, like just training, man, like, but even that training, that training, it still don't implement you actually being in training camp and you being there with the team, and it's just different, man. Like it ain't like we don't want to hold out because that's as a player, that's kind of like the worst thing to do because you're not gonna be prepared for that season. You ain't gonna be prepared for it, but it's just like something that you have to do to set you up for the long haul. Like, I know I deserve to get paid this amount of money. This money is going to set me up for life. So sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You got to be prepared too, though. Like, you can't, like, one thing about holding out, you can't be like, oh, I'm finna hold out. You miss like a week and like, oh man, I'm just playing, I'm coming back. Like, if you going to do it, you got to do it.
You got to take it to the door.
Yeah, you got to take it to the door. And so like, bro, like, I held out the whole training camp. I signed probably like 4 or 5 days before the first game of the season. Like, if you're going to do it, like, you got to do it. Yeah. Like, you can't play with it. Like, you can't bluff it because they're going to sit.
Like, how's that with the teammates? Do the teammates just kind of understand that whole process because it's all business? Yeah.
Some.
Yeah, some of them do.
Look, I ain't going
some of them do.
It's like every work. It's like coworkers. You ain't going to vibe with all of them, but I feel like the true core of them, they gonna understand and fuck with whatever decision you do make. You know, because shit, they going to war with you too. They know what you deserve. And you know, just I've never been at his mark of just what he holding out for, but it's still it's respect. And I think every man at the end of the day, they put that in their top 5 things that they do need in life is you want to be respected just because that's how you operate. Them folks, when you at that level, you're an employee.
You're an employee.
But they still watching every move, so it's even hard to just operate how you want to. So hey, I commend you for shit.
Yeah, it was
4
tough,
days
man.
before the season. I know you checking that. His phone's in. His phone.
Yeah, bro. I got the phone in. I got the phone in. I got it. It was BlackBerry though.
But what social media was it? What's
Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah, it was Twitter then.
I know they tearing you up.
Yeah, they tearing me. What? They was tearing me up on Twitter, man.
And at the time, let's talk about that a little bit, because at the same time, this is when Vince Young is going through. He got the misdemeanor at the strip club incident, and you're holding out at the same time. So how toxic was the Tennessee fan base at that time when you're dealing with that holdout?
Oh man, they was toxic. They was definitely toxic, man. They wanted me there, and I understand them. They want to see me. Or whatever like that, but at the end of the day, I got to feed my family. You know what I'm saying? So I had to do what I had to do. Like, if I go back, I'd do it again, but I wish I didn't have to do it. Like, I didn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, out of my whole career, the year that I held out, that was my worst season. That was my worst season. So I wish I didn't have to do it, but it was just something like you had to do it.
Took you a little while to shake off the rust, getting the season started?
Yeah, get in football shape.
Yeah.
Like, you got to think, these guys, for a month straight, they playing 4 preseason games, and I'm showing up. They got a whole month over me, you know what I'm saying? Just to get in shape and do all that, get in the hit and all that. Like,
Yeah.
Football shape is different.
Football
You know what I'm saying? You
shape.
can work out all you want. You can run on the treadmill, lift as many weights, but when you get on the field, you're going to be winded. It's just different type of conditioning.
Adrenaline is different. And guess who our first game of the season was? Jacksonville. Heat.
Oh, that's
We in this heat. First game of the season. Listen. And you got to think, once the season starts, you know, we only having really 2 hard days of practice, so I ain't getting in no shape with that. I got to get in shape in the game. Like, that was brutal.
What's your relationship like with Vince Young? What was it like during the season? What's it like now?
That's my boy, man.
Yeah.
That's my brother, man.
Every time I see that picture with him shirtless in the club.
In the club, yeah.
I know that boy get it in.
Yeah.
He's low key remind me of James. Like, you know, guys, they don't care about all this. They just gonna be themselves. And you know, I feel like that too. Every man just want an identity too. At the end of the day, like, fuck what they gotta say. Vince look like that dude who just
Vince don't care. He just
wild card. He
gonna have fun. He gonna do what he gotta do. He just wanna win, man. Vince just wanna win, man. He the type of guy where, like, you just put him out there and let him do what he do. Like, I feel like if he would have got with some coaches like how they do Lamar Jackson, like, ain't no telling what. It's a different league, man. I just feel like he came too early.
Right.
He came too early.
Yeah. I feel like that about a lot of running backs from the era. Like, they nowadays they put the pieces around you to fit your skill set. Vince it was like a square peg in a round hole with a lot of stuff they wanted him to do at that time. Do you feel like he handled because it's different being a black quarterback. Do you think he handled it well when he was dealing with the things he was dealing with in Tennessee?
I don't know. Like, I can't speak on how because I don't know how I would have handled it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how I would have handled it, but I just know it was a lot of things that went on that a lot of people don't know. So, and he's not talking about it, so I'm sure he wouldn't mind. Like, for example, the whole suicide incident. It wasn't really nothing. That game, he hurt his finger, and he wanted to go back in the game. And the coach ain't let him go back in the game. He kept the backup in, so they got into it or whatever. And then So what happened, it was Monday Night Football. We used to always go places and watch the game together and stuff like this. So he was leaving out of his house and he picked his gun up and left. He left the house with his gun. And somebody was worried about him or whatever like that. And so I don't know exactly who it was, but somebody in the organization called the police, and he wasn't doing nothing but just chilling, watching the game, eating wings.
Right.
So they came and got him and took him to the facility and stuff, saying that he needed to go talk to the police and stuff like that. He like, I'm just chilling. So it was blown out of proportion. It was something that's blown out of proportion, and it just stuck with him. But man, V good, man. He chilling.
Yeah.
That's my boy.
Yeah, I hung out with Bo Scape last year.
Big Bo.
Yeah, Big Bo. I hung out with him in Denver last year, and I hit him up last night. He was like, yeah, I'm about to be interviewing Chris Johnson. I ain't going to ask you the question he told me to ask you. I'm not going to ask that question.
I gotta hear this off camera.
Yeah, off camera we'll talk about it. I said, man, I can't ask that man that on camera, bro. Like, that's out of pocket, bro. But what was your relationship like with Bo, man? Shout out to my guy, Bo Scape, man.
Yeah, that was my boy. Like, it's crazy because all those guys, like, you got to think, when I was in college, the guys was the USC guys and the Texas guys, because them was the guys that was in the championship and stuff like that. So I went to a team with full of USC and Texas guys, Vince Young, Bo Scape, Lindell White, Mike Griff. Like, all those guys, like, those guys were there. So those are guys who I hung with and stuff like that. Those guys took me under their wings, and, like, first guys, like, go to New York, go to Texas, all that stuff. We used to hang with all those guys and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, bro, that's my guy too, man.
What was your experience like with the women? I know once you get that bread, like things get a little bit easier. They start throwing themselves at you. Do you feel you was targeted like in that way? Or did you have
went to a party school?
So he's already ready. He trained for it, right?
Trained for it. Yeah, man, you know, it just come with the territory. Like, it is what it is. It come with the territory. Like, whether you play football, basketball, or you got a lot of money, it comes with it. Female just come with it. You just gotta know how to move. Yeah, discipline. Like,
from a mindset standpoint, I know it comes with the territory, but I think the level of women you're dealing with definitely go up a notch. When you going from ECU to, you in Nashville as one of the top dogs in the city, like the level of women and who you're dealing with changes. And so it takes a different level of discipline, I would say, to keep yourself from,
Yeah, and being in the right places, like being that I was able to, like, cause you got a lot of guys that go, but like not in the right parties. So like being that I was hanging with VY, Bo Scape, and those guys, like going to LA, going to Jamie Foxx parties and all those different type of parties, being able to go, no, I ain't never been a Diddy party. But like, yeah, just, being around that type of environment, met a lot of celebrities, a lot of well-known females and stuff like that. So it's just, just being disciplined.
I guess from a standpoint of me being in the youth now, what can you give a kid who, because again, they at a different level than where we started at. They can get this, if I'm being wrong, correct me, Silk, is they can get money in high school.
Right.
What can you tell a kid how to stick to the course? Like, what can you give them as a gym that's they able to understand it, but they also able to, like, put it in motion,
Yeah, man, I just say stay hungry, man. I say stay hungry because, like, even the little bags that they getting in college or high school, that ain't really no money, like, especially after taxes hit you. Yeah. Like, you telling me, like, sure, you done got 100,000 or 200,000, that's gonna be gone. So I just when I talk to the youth and a lot of the kids, I just tell them, stay focused on the bigger picture, on the big bag, because these days, like, they ain't playing, they giving 50, 60, 70, like, they paying the NFL players like NBA players now. Like, they getting that bad, so that's the big picture. Like, you ain't gonna make $50 million in college or in high school. So, like, if you're gonna settle right now the couple $100,000 that you getting right now, and you feel like you made it and this and that, like by the time you get out of college, that money gonna be gone. Cause like you said, you're gonna meet all these new cousins and all this stuff. And like, man, life don't stop. Bills keep coming. And like, you know, these kids, they wanna get, even like I'm seeing it now, these kids in college get with the NILs, you know, they getting the cars, they buying this jewelry and all that stuff. Like, when it's time to try to sell that stuff back, you ain't getting what you paid for it. Right. So like, if you only getting a couple $100,000, that money go like that. That money go fast.
Did you have some regrets in like the purchasing standpoint, whether it be, I done spoke to some former guys before, they talk about some cars that they bought before and jewelry that they regret buying when it was time to retire or sell it. You have any of those regrets?
Yeah, I can say cars. I done had a lot. I probably done had every car, every foreign car. Like, I ain't gonna say I regretted it because I was able to do it, but if I can go back and do it again, I'd probably switch some of those out with some rental properties. Like probably like 3 or 4 of them instead of them, I probably got some rental properties instead. Because like once I finished with football, I would already had something going on.
But and my pops always said, some would call, some was sent, some just went. So there's some people that was called to do some stuff, some people, you know, sent, but some people just out there doing it because it's a check, it's an opportunity, and they're opportunists. But it's been a vibe, man. I enjoyed this conversation, sitting down with a Florida legend. I appreciate your time, my brother.
Yes, sir.
You know, until next time, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, don't look now, it's just the beginning. We win it, we win it, we win it, we win it. Yeah, Flo Factory.